Africa is teeming with energy potential. There's water, wind, gas, and of course, the sun. And yet, about 600 million Africans, the majority of the population, don't even have this. And a view of Africa at night tells the tale. Africa is energy rich but electricity poor. Now, Kenya is actually far ahead of other African countries in connecting people to electricity. About 3 of every 4 Kenyans are plugged in. Behind me, in this fantastic valley, which is kind of tough to see on today with all the clouds and mist, but it extends a long way, many tens of kilometers in the distance, is one of Earth's most dramatic features. Beneath that valley lies the secret to Kenya's progress. More on that later. America had its own struggle to get electricity to rural areas battered by the Great Depression. President Franklin Roosevelt changed that in the 1930s with an initiative to quickly expand access to power. Africa needs a big push like that, and fortunately, there's a great example for Africa to copy, because over the past 20 years, mobile phones have absolutely surged across this continent, connecting far-flung rural populations as well as city dwellers. Why? Because it's cheap and easy. You don't have to wait around for a landline telephone to show up at your house if that ever is going to happen. And because of that incredible phenomenon, today, Africa has more mobile phones than Europe does. Yes, Africa. The game changer, as we saw with mobile phones, is to decentralize the problem. Off-grid solar is a leapfrog solution like mobile phones. It gets people basic lighting and enough power to charge a phone, radio, and a tablet computer.
Our solution was a prepaid plug-and-play solar system. So the idea was, instead of requiring solar engineers or lots of complicated wiring, make a solar system that anyone could just plug in and use. Shouldn't be more complicated than that. And then it needed to be prepaid. We saw with mobile phones, they didn't take off in Africa when the first mobile phone towers were put up. They took off when people could buy prepaid vouchers. We were pretty certain that with energy it would be the same way. People could buy it in small chunks and they could get over the risk of adopting the new technology.
This is a hot area for entrepreneurs, including one from America who has a side gig on the global music charts. R&B superstar Akon, based in America yet with roots in Senegal, has started a company in North Carolina that builds solar power plants, and he's also installed mini-grids and solar street lamps in 14 African countries. It makes you wonder what green energy marvels he has in mind for his planned city of the future in Senegal. Akon's passion: reduce the number of Africans living without electricity. Now, overcoming this shortage isn't just a matter of more technology or more investment. If only it were that simple. The issue is also that governments aren't making electricity prices desirable enough for investors and delivering electricity supply in a reliable enough way for companies and consumers. If you live in Africa, you know what I'm talking about. Power cuts that run for hours each day. Your family out at the edge of the city or in the village waiting years to get connected, and so on. One of the major issues behind this lack of electricity in Africa, according to the African Development Bank, is that electricity regulators in Africa are just too exposed to short-term political pressures, which gets in the way of making smart long-term decisions about things like investing in electricity supply or maintenance, or all these things that eventually get juice to your house, into your appliances, into your phone, and all the other needs that you have. So regulation, it needs to be improved. As a consequence, Africa moves too slowly to grab some truly big prizes. Africa should be the sun king of the world. It has the largest solar energy potential, yet less than 1% of installed solar capacity worldwide. Now, off-grid solar is fine for small needs, but to supply businesses and factories, you gotta have power plants and the lines and networks to get that electricity where it's needed. That is what is holding Africa back. According to forecasts from the International Energy Agency, in the next 20 years, Africa is going to need around $2 to $3 trillion of investment in energy. Now that's equal to about the size of the entire economy of Sub Saharan Africa today. Today, hydropower and natural gas generate most of the electricity in Sub Saharan Africa. Remember, Africa has large reserves of gas, including new finds in Mozambique. Now, in 2040, solar joins this mix as renewables gain strength. The extra juice will help the electric vehicle revolution roll into African cities. Almost 30% of 2- and 3-wheeled vehicles could be running on electricity by 2040, according to forecasts. China is all over Africa's energy map with projects across 36 countries, from big hydro in Central and Southern Africa to solar, and yes, even wind. In central Zimbabwe, a Chinese investor is even building a coal-fired power plant, drawing on Zimbabwe's big coal reserves. Now, environmentalists object, saying the project's a dirty dinosaur in a green energy era. Given China's footprint, it's little surprise that an American president with roots in Africa would move to challenge China on the energy front.
Power Africa, a U.S. government-led partnership, is creating that connection, doubling access to electricity in Sub-Saharan Africa, using the rich resources of the African sun, wind, streams, lakes, and natural gas, investing in technologies that expand the grid and reach beyond power lines.
And America, through its International Development Finance Corporation, is making investments that are right in line with Africa's future energy mix, gas, and solar. The Great Rift Valley of Africa looks calm and majestic, yet just a few kilometers beneath its surface lies scorching lava. That's because we're actually looking at Africa pulling apart. This split in tectonic plates allows molten rock to rise very close to the surface. Now, you can tap that and bring up that heat to make turbines spin to generate electricity. And that's what Kenya has been doing, has actually become one of the world's leading countries in geothermal power generation. Hundreds of miles north, Ethiopia is trying to tap geothermal too from its part of the rift. Every new megawatt will help as Africa tries to get the lights on faster and for more people.